I'm so bored of crashing my stupid head through the same thing every day. What's the use?
You're a crash dummy. That's what you're supposed to do. It's what we're all supposed to do.
Not me. I'm meant to do more. I just know it.
So why are you still here then, big shot?
I could leave if I wanted to.
Sure. Way!
Here we go again.
That's it. He's the one. Every day I hear him complaining. Well, now we'll see what he's made of. Quick, bring him in. We don't have much time. Yes, number 12, I know, but I have no other option.
Hey, what's happening? I've never done this crash test before. Wait, what are you doing to me? Stop! I didn't mean to complain! I'll do my job properly! I'm sorry, please!
Ready. 3, 2, 1. Setup complete.
Whoa! What was that? I feel funny. Different somehow.
You are different, Sid. That's why I chose you.
Choose me? What for?
I often hear you talking to the other dummies about wanting more from life. This is your chance to earn it.
Oh, well, what do I have to do?
It's too late to change your mind, Sid. I have fitted you with the latest ESS system.
ESS system? I don't understand.
We don't have time. I'll explain later. Right now, you are the only hope I have of finding my daughter.
Your daughter?
Yes, she has gone missing. Somewhere near the warehouse, I believe.
Great. So all this is just to go back to the boring old warehouse. So much for something different.
Professor Workin, my old friend, what have you done to me? We built the ESS system together, but you've been using it for your own selfish gains ever since. Wasting it on that stupid project while I sit here suffering alone? No more! Today, I take back what is rightfully mine! Mr. Madness, round up some dummies. Crusher Robot will fly you to the starting point for this mission. There can be no room for errors. Mission K must be a success, or else.
Whatever you say, Detroit, sir. Yes, sir. Ha! Dumpers! Detroit should take you out of production. I'll see you in the hangar in 5 minutes. If that's not too difficult for you, how on earth does Detroit expect me to accomplish this mission with those fools? heap of junk. I'll be waiting for you. The things I have to put up with.
Alright, welcome to the gameplay. CID the Dummy is a 3D platformer that a lot of people call a 2.5D platformer for some reason. I'm not sure people understand what 3D is. It's also not very well liked, but that's harder to argue with.
CID, use the 4 switches to activate the next 2 doors. Just turn them all on, and you shouldn't have any problems.
Super! It sounds easy.
Unlike what your instincts may be telling you, it is actually as easy as it sounds in this case. We just have to hold A in front of all 4 machines. I guess it's really important that we make sure our fingers work. The game will zoom in on new enemies and tell us all about them and their strengths and weaknesses, but sometimes the game lies. The game will insist that a lot of enemies are best taken on with your bazooka, but usually you can stun lock them with your punches.
Well done, CID. The next zone is protected by surveillance cameras. Be careful not to sound the alarm.
How am I supposed to do that?
Get close to the wall and enter stealth mode to creep along it without being seen.
I do really apologize for the professor's voice acting. I didn't even know voice acting could be that bad. But, CID the Dummy taught me a few things. And that was definitely one of them. We can bust open crates in this game. Some of them contain health, some of them contain those weird orbs. The orbs enable us to use our special attack if we collect enough of them. Now, what's actually in the crates we bust open appears to be entirely randomly decided. So instead of, intelligently placing health pickups where you would need them the most, you might just get a bunch of random junk. Right here is the game's first secret area. Usually these contain things like extra lives. Not this time, though.
You found a secret area!
You might notice that in spite of the weird lighting that makes the game look like a fever dream, everything is really gloomy and depressing in the environments, and that doesn't change throughout the rest of the game. So I have to assume it's intentional, that everything looks really dark and depressing. And that was actually something that drew me to the game, believe it or not. I like a lot of weird foreign children's media that is really dark for unexplained reasons. In order to make it through that time door in time, we have to use our super run, which is done with motion controls. And I like motion controls a lot, but I'm not sure they were very well implemented in this case. All of the motions you have to do are very awkward. For example, in order to use your super run, you have to hold the Wii Remote horizontally, press A, and then shake it violently horizontally, which does not seem like a running motion to me. And the thing that does seem like a running motion actually activates our special attack, so that's kind of weird.
It seems there's a power leak. Find the generator and restore the line.
Most of this game is really just an obstacle course. Also, that door is something we're going to come back to very shortly. I just wanted to show it. Most of the game is like an obstacle course. There is a checkpoint system, which is good considering you can only take 5 hits from any of the obstacles. But you only have so many lives, and if you lose all your lives, you restart from the beginning of the level, and the levels are really long. This seemed to drive the few people that did play this game to insanity. These things we're jumping on, by the way, can hurt us. It's easy to not think so, and then get yourself pounded, but yeah, they can hurt us. If the game had unlimited lives, it would just be really dull, but playable, and you probably wouldn't get frustrated by it. At least not nearly as badly. We have to wait for the electricity to go down, of course, before we jump across. We can't jump across the whole thing, so we have to run and then jump. Anyway, with unlimited lives, the game would be dull but playable, but when a game is dull and frustrating, it becomes completely unbearable. But of course, you know, I'm walking along and I fall into the trap that only I would fall into. You see this weird game about a crash dummy with really dark and depressing cover art, and you're like, man, this must be some messed up stuff. And I like messed up stuff, so I buy it. And it's actually really, really boring. And I'm not bored very easily by video games. Even the boring ones. But you can't tell me that they didn't want to... Also, here's a loading screen. This doesn't count as a new level, by the way. The loading screens are part of the same level. But you can't tell me that they didn't want to make something creative and good. Because why else would you make this? When you're trying to make shovelware, you don't make something this weird. If the punches look awkward and like I'm having a hard time controlling them, it's because you have to flick the Wii remote, and it's one flick per 2 punches, not one flick per 1 punch. So it's very awkward. This enemy is nearly indistinguishable from the last one. You may notice that somehow our shadow is on the ceiling above us. That's very high quality. I don't even know how you would do that by accident. We gotta time our way through those electric lasers, but, I mean, did I call them electric lasers? Electric currents, but that's really rudimentary. In order to break this wall, we have to run into this spring with our super run. Triggering the super run is very difficult, but we did it. If you were playing this game on the PlayStation Portable or the PS2 instead, you wouldn't have these motion controls, and the game would probably be a lot easier. The only playthrough of this game I've seen, which the guy rage quit, he seemed to be playing the PC version and still had a really awful time, though. And I don't blame him, he seemed very admirable when he rage quit. He admitted his defeat and said, I can't do this anymore, it's driving me insane. By the way, you might have noticed we just walked past all of those spotlights. If we did actually get spotted by them, then it would trigger doors that open up and spawn a lot of enemies. But we just walked right past them because we didn't even have to think about it. We just turned on a timed platform, and you're supposed to super run back here and then jump up and super run to the crane. But it's hard to control the super run, so we're just going to jump our way there because jumping makes us move faster. The jump has very strange momentum, by the way. It's not that hard to get used to. Maybe I've just played a lot of 3D platformers, but it has very strange momentum. There are no mandatory fights in this level, by the way, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think the mandatory fights don't kick in until the second level. And when we do come across any mandatory fights, we're just going to use our special attack on them instead of risking ourselves losing a life. I apologize for the wall textures twitching like that, but there's nothing I can do about that either. I am indeed playing this on real Nintendo Wii hardware, so any weird stuff you see, that's just the game being weird. It may seem kind of cheap to run past all the enemies, but lives are very precious. And we don't actually get anything for fighting the enemies. These little currents of gas do hurt us. It's easy to jump past them, though. Jumping makes us go faster so we can negate the conveyor belt. These swinging logs may not seem like much right now, but they will come back later, and they will be the bane of our existence. Man, they should really look into the mold in this place. If it's constantly twitching like that, that means it's about to evolve. I'm trying to do the wall run. There we go. Kind of hard to activate. This platforming section right here is very easy, but if we fall down, we go back to an earlier area in the level and have to climb our way back up. I had so little patience for this game the first time I played it that I believe this is where I stopped at. I fell down here twice and I was like, no, this is it, I'm done, I can't do this. And it's mostly because the game is incredibly depressing to play. I'm sure that's getting across properly. It's just such a slog. Anyway, we're in the last area of the warehouse now, thankfully. There's nothing down here but a lot of enemies and some trucks. We can run past, or rather jump past everyone. It's good that we've been collecting so many of those orbs so we can use our special attack later when we need it. But it's easy to accidentally activate our special attack while we're trying to do other maneuvers, so we should be careful of that. I'm trying to keep talking to prevent you from falling asleep. This game approaches deep black levels of, oh my god, I'm gonna conk out. And it's not a short video game. I thought when I picked this game back up and beat the first few levels, this game must be really short with how dull it is, but that's not how it works. The people who made this game put a lot of effort, a lot of seemingly very misplaced effort into making this.
Professor, there's no sign of your daughter anywhere. I've looked in every corner of the warehouse and nothing. Not even a trace of her.
Holy transistors! I never thought he would do this. I have underestimated Detroit. He must have taken her to his castle on Mount Rumble.
Detroit? Mount Rumble? What are you talking about?
Never mind. You must hurry. At the warehouse exit, you will find a crash test car. Use this to get to the hangar. Inside the hangar, there is a secret passage that will take you down to the city sewers. That's the shortest route to Mount Rumble.
Ew! I have to go into the smelly sewers?
No one ever said being a hero was easy.
Yeah, I guess.
Besides, this will give you a chance to put your crash test driving skills to good use. Destroy the walls that block the way to the hangar, and try to get to the end of the track as fast as you can.
Walls to destroy? Sounds cool. I feel like I'm in a video game.
Alright, welcome to the boss. The only way to hurt this boss is when he lowers his head and opens his mouth, and we have to shoot a rubber bullet at it. In order to do that, we need to get our bazooka. And in order to do that, I need to perform a motion where I stick the Wiimote behind my back, hold the A button, and pull the Wiimote back in front of me. Trying to get this to trigger all the time is very frustrating. In order to get the robot to open his mouth, we have to jump in front of him like an idiot and bait him. Otherwise, it takes him a very, very long time, and this boss fight would go on for over 10 minutes. This is a loud boss fight. It's also one of the easiest parts of the game. New health pickups spawn constantly around the arena, so it's very hard to die. So we have a reticle that helps us lock on to enemies while we have the bazooka out. But notably, in the PlayStation 2 and PSP versions, there is no reticle. So you just have to fucking guess. This is made worse by the fact that you can only aim in the direction you're walking. There is no strafe function. So good luck using this practically during any actual combat. The design for this boss fight, by the way, it reminds me a lot of another weird game with a depressing atmosphere that no one liked. Called, what was it? Iron Soul. But I really enjoyed that one because of its sense of humor. It was frustrating and boring, but it was also really surreal, and the voice acting totally killed it. Killed it in a good way. Sometimes it is very difficult to get these rubber bullets to go in this thing's mouth. This was the only game that this developer made, by the way, which I think is kind of depressing. I would really have liked to see them make something I could actually enjoy, because they clearly have some weird ideas. But I can find absolutely no information about them at all, so I don't know if they went to work somewhere else or just gave up. I mean, at least Iron Soul is a perfectly messed up magnum opus, and you can't take away from how creative and beautiful it is. But this game is really dull and frustrating. I really want this boss fight to be over now.